Good morning, Wham! How you doing? Is say hi to Connor.
Hello.
Alright, so Connor is, I'm going to read to Connor, and we're going to read this together. Ch.4, the Pilgrims' Thanksgiving. We're going to study Thanksgiving right on Thanksgiving week, so we'll do a little more of that. But right now, we're going to study the Pilgrims. Why they put them in chapter 4 ahead of chapter 5, well, obviously you should put 4 before 5. But, the Pilgrims were not the first colony in America. They were one of the first colonies in America, and they were the second English permanent colony in America. So they're important. And a lot of people like to tell the story because of their freedom of religion. And I think that's why it makes a good story. They were the ones who weren't just trying to make money. They were trying to be, half of them were trying to just make money. But half of them were trying to worship God in their own way. And they went to jail for it. They had to go to Holland and live there. And then they decided to live their way of life in America. So let's learn about these pilgrims, shall we? As you can see, there's a picture of the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims' Thanksgiving, chapter 4. A long time ago, the Pilgrims lived in England. All the people in England had to pray in the King's Church. This church was called the Church of England. The Pilgrims did not like the Church of England. They wanted to pray in their own church. The Pilgrims left England and went to a small country called Holland. There was freedom of religion in Holland. Pilgrims prayed in their own church in Holland. The people of Holland are called the Dutch. They speak the Dutch language. The Pilgrims did not like living in Holland. They wanted to keep their English ways. They decided to go to America. In America, they could live as they wanted and have freedom of religion. In 1620, the Pilgrims left Holland for America. They had a ship. Their ship was the Mayflower. The trip took 65 days. The weather was rainy and cold. Many pilgrims became sick during the long, cold trip. At last, the Mayflower reached America. It landed in Massachusetts. Before leaving their ship, the Pilgrims made a plan for a government. That plan was the Mayflower Compact. The plan said the Pilgrims would work together to make laws. The laws would be fair to all. The Pilgrims would not have a king in America. They would choose a governor and rule themselves. The Mayflower Compact was the first government in America that allowed people from Europe to rule themselves. The Pilgrims landed in November. They started a town called Plymouth. Plymouth was the second English town in America. In chapter 5, you'll read about the first English town in America. The first winter in Plymouth was very cold. There was little food. Many pilgrims became sick and died. There were no Native Americans in Plymouth when the Pilgrims landed, but the Wampanoag were a group of Native Americans who lived in forests near Plymouth. They came and helped the Pilgrims. Their leader was Massasoit. He signed a peace treaty with the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims and the Wampanoag lived together in peace. Squanto was an American Indian who taught the Pilgrims how to plant corn. He showed the Pilgrims where to find many fish. He taught the Pilgrims to hunt for deer and turkeys in the forest. The Pilgrims worked hard in Plymouth. They planted seeds to grow food. They built a church. They built houses. By November 1621, the Pilgrims had a lot of food. The Pilgrims had a Thanksgiving party in November 1621. They invited their Native American friends. The Native Americans brought deer to the party. The Pilgrims brought turkeys. This Thanksgiving party lasted 3 days. The Pilgrims gave thanks to God for helping them. They said, "Thank you" to the Native Americans for helping them. This was the Pilgrims' first Thanksgiving in America. All right, and there's a nice picture of it. So, famous painting. Now, there's some things in there, it's basically true, but there's some things that are a little inaccurate. And we're going to go over those, especially right before Thanksgiving, about how they were invited and the Native American and turkeys.
Yeah, about the theory of the turkey.
So we're gonna do a lot about that and have an argument. Were they turkeys or not? We'll discuss that right before Thanksgiving. But okay, so we have some work to do, and we're gonna read 2 more chapters from another book that's a lot more detailed and historically accurate than this basic one. All right, have a good day. Say goodnight, Connor.
Well, good night, good day, good morning.
Okay, well, it's good night for us.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.